The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on and they get.
He missed the complete. He's crazy stuff.
Side Freitas is on the grass on the infield for 4. He slides through. He tags Richard Eck.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Patrick Taylor Memorial at the Glen from the beautiful upstate New York area. This is round 24 of the Premier Racing League Patriot Fire Cup Series, and you're going to see all 64 laps tonight unfold live here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. Good evening, race fans. I'm Sean Ambrose, and alongside with me in the booth tonight is Justin Prince. Behind the scenes, we have our director, Amjad Yaman, twisted and tweaking the dials. The camera sets that you're watching this evening, as always, are provided to you by the great Dougie Beard. Folks, welcome to the Empire State. I opened by letting you all know this is the Patrick Taylor Memorial at the Glen. This was not planned to be a memorial race tonight. Unfortunately, we got the sad news yesterday that Patrick Taylor, a young man from Canada, a big member in the iRacing community and one of the administrators from the Lionheart IndyCar series that you see here on GSRC on Wednesday nights. And why is that important? Well, a lot of these drivers from PRL and the Lionheart IndyCar series have raced together, continue to race together. Some race in both series. James Garula, Brian Yazik, both close friends of everybody over at the Lionheart IndyCar series, and myself as well, as I've been broadcasting with the guys at Lionheart for quite some time. And we got the unfortunate news that yesterday that he's passed. He's no longer with us, and it caught us all quite by shock. And of course, we know death always catches everyone by shock, but Patrick was really, really one of the very, very important figures behind the scene for the Lionheart IndyCar series. And boy, I'll tell you, you couldn't have met a nicer guy, and just a really, really good Canadian dude. And we're all going to miss him, and we're all going to get around here tonight best way we can. Several of the drivers I know James and Brian are running a little something on their cars. In fact, James Garula is running the 81 tonight, Patrick's number. And so we'll be following those guys closely tonight. And they've got a sticker. That sticker you're seeing there on the screen, that logo, that will be on their cars also. But again, our thoughts, our condolences are all with the family of Patrick Taylor and all the guys over at Lionheart IndyCar Series. And for all of any of you that he touched your lives, we send our best, and we'll get through this and we'll move on. And it's just like my friend Soup, Bill Zahn, said earlier today, when we got into this sim racing broadcasting thing, none of us ever really knew that we would have to deal with this kind of thing like they do in the real world of racing. And when you lose somebody important to the scene, it's tough. And this is equally as tough. But like I said, Justin, we will move on. Tonight we are here at Watkins Glen. The Cup guys were here. The Monster Energy Cup guys were here just this past weekend. And tonight we're going to bring you one whale of a race from this course. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yes, we are here at Watkins Glen International with a lot of thoughts, as you mentioned, on people's minds. But of course, we do have a race here on this 2.43 mile course with 11 turns across the circuit here. to manage. You have multiple passing zones in turn 1, the bus stop, as well as the final corner. If you time it out the right way, it could also end up being one of the danger zones on top of the S's in the tunnel straightaway here. Now, this is also NASCAR's one of the most popular stops, actually, and since 1956, this track has seen a lot of action. It will be the same thing today. It will be a tough and slick track as temperatures are at 103 degrees, Fahrenheit across the track, and 82 degrees in the air with high humidity at 59%. And now to go into more detail on what to expect for today's race, let's go into your GSRC lap guide.
All right, we've got Amjad Yaman in the GSRC Chevy SS, so let's do a lap around Watkins Glen. Coming down to turn 1, this is a great place to try to make a pass. Just be careful not to overshoot it. The downhill braking zone is going to make it easy to come in too hot, but you do have a lot of paved runoff to save you. From there, you start to climb the S's, where you'll have to carefully balance the throttle while trying to carry your speed as much as possible. Getting a good run out of the last right-hander of this set will be critical to both attack and defense. And as you fly down the high-speed backstretch, you'll see why. You gotta whoa up the car for the inner loop, which is a popular overtaking spot. But be wary of trying to go through there too wide, because that can wind up in disaster in a hurry. After that, it's easy for the car to come around as you transition into the carousel now. Amjad did a good job of holding on to it, but this nearly 180-degree corner almost requires you to drive it like an oval with its banking. The main thing to focus on is getting the launch off of there, because you've got another long stretch up to Indianapolis. The braking into this penultimate corner is going to be your last best place to try to pass someone. But this left-hander is deceptively quick. There's a groove at the bottom of the banking you need to make sure and get your car into. Then, real quick, switch sides to set up for the final turn. Once again, tuck it right up to that curbing on the inside and make sure not to slide off into the tires to your left. Get the power down as soon as you've got some grip and you've finished your lap around Watkins Glen.
And that is your trip around Watkins Glen. And boy, I'll tell you what, I love this track. I think everyone on iRacing loves this track. It's basically the first NASCAR course you're really exposed to, road course that you're exposed to when you get on the service. But this in Sonoma, a lot of fun. Now, we have a big event this evening because it is the last race of the summer session. And what does that mean? That means we'll crown a champion this evening. And we're going to talk about the points here right now with Justin. Break it down for us, buddy.
Yeah, let's look at the points right now, both with the summer and overall standings. Starting off with your summer standings, as you mentioned, we will be rewarding someone a championship tonight for that, as it's the last race of that session. Brian Yazik, your overall leader, currently leads the summer points as well by just 25 points over Nicholas Cohan. There are currently 23 total entrants, so he has all but secured that championship depending on how bonus points lie. Thomas George is in third, followed by Jeff Ward, who has had a red-hot summer season so far. Tommy Ryan rounds out the top 5, while Ricky Harden, James Krahula, Tyler Dalton, Tim Johnston, and John Wilco round out your top 10 with the summer standings. Now let's look at your overall standings as well, because it's still a long ways away. Yazik just has a 21-point lead on the overall standings right now. And a lot, of course, like I said, can change from now to November. Tommy Ryan's currently in third position, 93 points back, while Thomas George is currently fourth, 110 points back. Tyler Dalton and Ricky Harden are tied for fifth right now with 632 points apiece. James Grahula is just behind them with 150 back of the leaders. That's in seventh. Tim Johnston is 171 points back. Drew Carroll and Jeff Ward are rounding out your top 10. So we are seeing a lot of different drivers who have risen up through the summer session, especially Jeff Ward, who are now making their way through the entire season standings because of their summer standings performances.
Well, Justin, great breakdown of the points there. We get ready to start qualifying here, and that's what I want to talk about. I want us to follow qualifying very, very closely here over the next several minutes because, you know what, I think that's going to be really key to this race is where you qualify. You definitely want to be up front. We've seen a lot of speed in practice. We've seen Jeff Ward finally dropped down to a 109 there at the end of practice. You talked about his prowess. Now it looks like he's an early favorite to win this race. I certainly couldn't agree with you more. There's several guys here that I think have a really good chance. I think this configuration of Watkins Glen honestly plays a little bit more like a super speedway, if you will. Really, the bus stop is the only thing that really slows this course down, and it's going to be the survival of the fittest, of the best tonight. And things can go awry on the very, very first lap down to that 90-degree turn with what looks to be about 23 cars right now. They're all going to try and screw it down into that right-hander and get the very best exit off and fight for a chance to get up through the S's and finally to that back straightaway. Again, I think where you qualify is going to be so important because you want to be behind that mess. Man, if there is trouble in the S's to open this race, we could see an early caution flag. We could see a lot of damage and a lot of cars twisted up. Now, the race control does have the option to throw a full course caution if needed. If the track is impassable and the stack up causes such a mess that they will do that. Don't expect to see that this evening, but everything being said, that could be possible. The other thing to watch out for this evening here as we get started with qualifying right now is this 64-lap race. There'll be a random, for those of you that are here for the first time tonight in the Premier Racing League, in the Cup Series, on the road courses, they throw a random caution flag. That's good tonight. It's going to be sometime between lap 21 and 42. How far can you go on a tank of fuel, Justin?
Well, we were speaking to Brian Yazik about this actually, and he estimated about lap 32 to 33 is when you run out of fuel. He expects this to be a two-stop race, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see some drivers do something like Martin Truex Jr. did this past weekend. Try and stretch out the fuel, go slow on some laps, while others are still pushing hard, and then on that last lap, if you have enough fuel, press the go buttons and start going, because if you can make it on fuel one stop, that's a major advantage compared to some of the other drivers. I know a lot of people are thinking, oh, it's about a 61, 64 lap race, you should be able to make it on the one stop, but you never know. You might have drivers push it too hard in the beginning parts of runs, so we'll have to see once the race gets going how people stretch out their fuel.
Yeah, you know what? I like the two-stop strategy. I think you're going to need speed at this course tonight. You're going to need breakneck speed, and another thing that's going to be a factor we haven't even talked about yet, and probably not very important here in qualifying, as it is single-car qualifying. Traffic. Traffic's going to be a big deal tonight, Justin. Not a very long circuit, just under 2.5 miles. If you get caught behind, get caught off cycle with pit stops, you're going to be working through that traffic. Boy, that can be a very tough thing here at Watkins Glen. And there's a couple really good passing opportunities, but the trip up through the S's, that is probably one of the trickier spots on this track because it's very tight through there, and cars can get offline, get turned around, and really block that section of the course, Justin.
Yeah, I was just about to say, because if something happens in that section with a few cars, there's nowhere to go. There isn't a giant amount of grass alongside, because once they hit that wall, they're going to bounce right back onto the track. So it's about managing that traffic and making sure you don't take too many risks. I wouldn't be surprised if cars try and go single file as soon as they can, and then try and position themselves throughout the entire circuit to make a pass into turn one as the race continues on, or through the bus stop if they can find a way to get enough speed to get to the bottom entering the said bus stop. And as you can see where Jeff Ward is, as he's running a pretty fast qualifying lap there. In fact, a blistering 109.791. That could be also a spot where you see a lot of cars diving for making those passes. But like you said, and like I'm saying here, manage the traffic well, you'll be able to survive. You don't manage it well, you better hope you don't end up going to the wrecker yard.
All right, so Ward gets that really hot lap in. Brought Yazik on the screen there. Yazik's already got one in the books, but it was a 1:10.7, and that's a full second slower than Jeff Ward. Can he wheel his Ford around just to full second faster this time and try to topple that Yazik with a pretty decent lap cooking right now. He gets out of the carousel, coming up the back straight here, into the penultimate turn. This is a tough one right here. This is a tough one, keeping the grip down and keeping that car from running off over the rumble strips there, but he keeps it clean and tight. And a really nice exit there on the final turn. Boy, this might be it. What's Yazik going to get? Ooh, that puts him up to fourth. Not quite enough to get the pole, but boy, fourth, not a bad place to be. That's going to be his lap. You know, several of these drivers actually have still only taken one lap. And I think that's where they're going to call it, is probably one lap, but we've got several drivers that haven't even gone out to qualify yet. So with now just a little less than 4 minutes to go, I think we could maybe hold out here just a moment longer. Might get a couple more cars on track here in just a moment. But boy, a 109.7, we didn't see Ward hit that 109 until the end of the practice session, Justin. And, you know, I like where you were going with that, but I still think, and I'm going to throw out my woodshed pick of the night here. And I talked about this in the woodshed today. Nick Cohan, man, I think it's time for him to win again. He hasn't been in victory lane in a bit, but I think tonight could be his night. Now, we've talked about Nick Cohan. He currently sits in fifth qualifying. Let's talk about the pole. And that's going to go to Jeff Ward this evening. Let's go around with our MP3 Designs pole award here for Jeff Ward, picking up another one this season. And Justin, we're going to take a ride around with him here on that magic lap.
Yeah, let's take a look at this blistering pace as the race meet is underway. Meanwhile, out in the middle of the racetrack, but look at Jeff Ward here. He got a little tiny bit loose on that entry for that one, but a great run. Let's take a, like you said, we're going to follow through to the S's. As Brian Yazik had said to us earlier, this is the most slick part, is this S's, where if you go too fast, you'll hit that DRS sign you see on the left. So we're going to have to see how everything goes here. You can see he hit the bus stops nearly perfectly, did touch the grass, but just timed it out the right way he needed to get into the 109s.
Yeah, what a lap here, and he's going to finish it off here with a great run up the back straight into the penultimate turn here. Again, like I said, so tricky here, but he does a great job of just keeping it nailed down near to the bottom. Doesn't even really get up to the rumble strip, and finds a nice balance here, coming off the last turn all the way up to the tire barrier there, across the start-finish line, and there is your NP3 Designs pole award winner today, Jeff Ward. And now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's go down trackside for this nation's anthem. That was the national anthem, and now we are back for the start of the Patrick Taylor Memorial at the Glen this evening, and let's go through the grid here, see where everybody's at. We know Jeff Ward's going to be on the pole this evening. Guess who's starting up there with him? James, who was sweating that just a bit, finds himself up on the front row with Jeff Ward.
A fast time for him. Another fast time as well for Ricky Harden. He'll start third alongside your points leader, Brian Yazik.
Row 3, My pick there, Nick Cohan starting 5th. Tyler Dalton going to start 6th tonight.
Jonathan Cadell, who is serving the last of a 4-race suspension he had earlier in this probation, from earlier this season. He's starting 7th alongside Woodrow Mahan.
Okay, and row 5 is going to be Drew Carroll and Devin Sarah.
And just outside the top 10, Thomas George and Travis McQuiston.
All right, row 7, Captain Motorsports, Brett Pudukari and Adam Blattell. Hashtag Adam Blattell starting 14th.
And rounding out the 112 lap times for qualifying, Justin Rodden starting alongside Joshua King.
Row 9, Tim Johnston and Devin Cannon.
And in row 10, these two did not complete times, Andrew Jones and Rick Thompson.
Okay, and let's take the rest of the field here real quick. Calvin Filarski going to start 21st. John Wilco, 22nd. And Jonathan Lawrence starting 23rd tonight. 23 cars here for Watkins Glen. It's time to go and let's start this out as everybody here gets to the grid. We get wound up and we'll do a complete pace lap here and then set them loose. James Garula going to jump out in front of the field and lead everybody around here for just a little bit as a tribute to the late Patrick Taylor. You see he's running that decal on his hood there. Again, Patrick meant a lot to several of us and just a really, really great guy and taken from us. You see he was only born there in 1981, taken from us way too soon, very unexpectedly, and he will certainly be missed. And I know several of the guys from the Lionheart IndyCar Series are kind of tuning in or will tune in. And guys, we're all thinking about you. And we're thinking about Patrick and his family. Our very best to them. And our best to all of you. I know several other drivers that either used to race with Lionheart or had thought about running with him at one time or another. They're doing tributes in other leagues this evening. Hats off to Brian Neff. I know he's running a little tribute on his car over in another league this evening, and we appreciate everybody in their thoughts. But it's just about time to go racing. I think James is going to get up here to the bus stop, and he's going to pull off just a moment. Yeah, he's going to run through the safety lane there, and he's going to slot back in here up along next to Jeff Ward. It was funny, as I said to him when he was planning this out in the pre-race, Justin, I said, well, maybe you'll just qualify up there front and that won't really be an issue where you have to slot back in. And he's like, yeah, I'm not really concerned with that. No way I'm going to be up there. And, well, there he is.
Yeah, and it was a good time too with that. And it's, I think, a good thing to be starting up front in this position because it gives you a chance to set a rhythm early on without having to worry about having to move your way through the field quickly. You just got to make sure you hold off some cars for the start and not fall back. So as they enter one of the final turns here, they're all set to go, my friend.
Yes, sir. All right. Turn 8 coming up. The roof pace car is going to pull off. We will get started. Jeff Ward is going to get us started. Going to drag down this straightaway with James Cahula. Pace car now pulling off. It is off and away, and so is Jeff Ward. We are green in the Patrick Taylor Memorial here at the Glen. Wow, what a start by Ward. Really, really gets out there. James going to break it late down into turn 1. Right on his bumper. James gets a really nice exit. Catches a little bit of toe there off of Ward. Just behind him, Yazik scrambling to get up in front and stay in third. He's got Ricky Harden right behind him. Yazik gets up through the S's really, really quick. Side by side back there.
Yes, side by side coming through those S's. And Justin Rodden got a little bit loose on his exit. They're all entering the bus stop now here. Take a look at this. Drew Carroll trying to take advantage of the spot. Thomas George in a good pass to make a pass on Sarah. And will do so. And it looks like they're going back to single file for the most part after some pretty clean racing to start.
Boy, and poor Ricky Harden, the 15, having a bit of a connection issue right now. That's not a common thing for Ricky. Hopefully he can hang on. Jeff Ward bringing it around, though, to the final turn. He is going to lead the first of 60 what is it, 61 laps here this evening. Sorry, guys. Boy, big lead already. Over a second ahead. James Carula barely hanging on to that second spot. Yazik has had a really great run to start this race. Nick Cohan getting by Harden. Harden dropping back. So does Tyler Dalton. Yeah, moves being made.
And it looks like Harden may have moved up the track to make sure, because of course he was running up in the top 5, but as mentioned, he has some connection issues at the moment. His internet ping is at about 500 to 400 at the moment. So he is probably dropping back and giving some more faster drivers a chance to get by, as you're seeing here, which is leading to that dropping by. And the next person who can make a move, Steel Horse Racing's Cadell.
Drew Carroll. Adam Blattel in the Amstel. Number 9 has a problem there. Let's catch it on the replay. Going into the bus stop. Did he get a little help there?
No,
I think it's just a problem with the braking there, and car gets around.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like there, because he just turned left, tried to enter the turn. You see gets a bit loose on the hard brake, tries to make sure he doesn't go too hard into the bus stop, I guess, and smacks the wall instead. And then it looks like it might have affected Andrew Jones a little bit too. Yeah,
and that he picks up a little bit of damage on the car. Woodrow Mahan, we just prior to that, was fighting off the charge from Drew Carroll. Things seem to have settled down for right now, but glad to see the Blue Bullet back on the track this week. Hoping for a better finish for Woodrow tonight at the Glen. This is really, we're line astern back to the end of the field right now. Adam Blattel, unfortunately, finds himself at the back of the field now after that spin. But a little bit of fighting in the carousel right now. Who backs off there? That was Rick Thompson being followed by Calvin Filarski. And it was Devin Cannon that had to get all the way out of the throttle there in the carousel. All three of them were battling, but just now Filarski looking to make this move. Oh, down into turn 7, doesn't quite pull it off. He backs off just a bit. On board with him there. That's a tough place to press. Filarski with a nice run off the exit here. Can he get him coming down the straight? Maybe try and outbrake him down into the 90. We'll see. What's he going to do? He's just going to settle in, and he's going to race right now. Calvin going to play it safe here behind Rick Thompson. Rick Thompson and that Rick American Pool Supply Ford. Hashtag the pool is clean.
I was just going to say, as Thompson looks like he got a little tiny bit squirrely in through part of the yeses there, but when it comes to the exit out of the final turn there, it's going to capitalize and help drivers get the exit they need to, in the passing situation, they need to go into turn 1. If Worski can keep up the same pace he did on the exit out of 11 the last time, he might be able to make the move in the next couple laps if he so wanted to. But you're seeing James Krahula having to hold off your points leader in Yazik at the moment.
Yeah, and Tim Johnston just overtook Brett Bukari. Nice move by him. Nice little battles going on all over the place out here right now.
Yeah, and Adam Blattel, even with that damage, has already moved past Andrew Jones. So, despite the damage, he's still fairly fast. 113 in range, a 113 flats. That's faster than some of the cars that are currently ahead of him, of course, as Devin Cannon takes the corner line and moves the position to Jonathan Lawrence almost.
Wow. And Jeff Ward already starting to pick up the pace a little bit. That last time around was his fastest lap. Tim Johnson picking up another spot. Just gets by Travis McCuistion. Tim with pretty solid run here to get started. All he's done is pick up spots. He continues to pick them up. Long way to climb this ladder, though. He's up 5. He's got 11 more to go to get up to Jeff Ward.
And that's a long ways away. Johnston, though, is a fairly consistent driver every time he races here in the Premier Racing League, and especially in the Patriot Fire Cup Series. If he can continue that consistency, he will be in a good shape. As look at the cars behind him, though, it looks like Travis McQuistion is going to have to battle off one of the main people to watch, I think, as well for the back markers, or in the rear end, I should say, Brett Bukhari, as he's trying to make a move as well.
You know, going back to Tim Johnston, man, he is about to catch this next pack. He's got a little ways to go, but I mean, Devin Sarah is about 2.5 seconds up, and he's closing right now. So Johnston, again, doing quite a job here off the start of this race. You see that pack right in front of him as they come up the straight into the bus stop. This is a great battle. You saw the right there at the tail end, Devin Sarah, Thomas George at the end of that group there in the 24. But they are racing, brother. Got a battle here for 7. Jonathan Caddell looking to lose it. Woodrow Mahan. Woodrow tried to outbreak him. Tried to outbreak him again. Doesn't want to make a big mistake here. He's going to get a good run off the exit. He's got enough to get him here down at the end of the straight. I don't know. Not seeing a lot of toe there on the straight. Watch out for the 87, Drew Carroll, coming in hot.
Yeah, Caddell's just getting better exits right now, it seems, compared to everyone else behind him, as all of them are just hungry, waiting for a mistake to be made by Caddell, of course. You're seeing the view from Drew Carroll right behind Mahan.
Boy, Devin Cannon just had a moment and slid off the course going down into turn 1. He's safe, back on track without any damage. Look at this battle mode going on between Cannon and George. I'm sorry, Carroll and George. I said Cannon. Side by side. Can they keep this up? George backs off. he's still keeping the pressure on him. I love it.
Yep, he's trying just to get a good exit right now, of course, to catch up to Carroll. Like I said, that part of the track is not the best place, obviously, to try and make a pass. That's why I think George, of course, backed out, because he would end up losing the position anyway if he went on the inside of turn 10. So he's just trying to get some draft on Carroll, wait for Carroll for the third time I've basically said to make a mistake. Well, one person I also want to mention who's in 11, Devin Sarah right behind him. He's performing much better than I expected, as he loses a ton of time actually in that section. He had struggled mightily in practice. He's racing much better than he had just an hour ago even, before this race began, and now he's going to have to worry about Tim Johnston.
Hard to believe that we're working on lap 8 here. Seems like we just started. We really did, but lap 8 comes quick. They're running just over a minute and 10 seconds by our leader, Jeff Ward, his best lap of the race. There he is, sailing off into the distance already. Got a, 6.5 second lead here. I'm sorry, 2.5 second lead. I'm looking at the wrong thing on the relative here. But just a really, really good clinic being put on here by Mr. Ward. I will say this, Rahula with a really, really great start here at this roadie. And it started with that qualifying effort he threw down. Again, this is a man who didn't feel very good about qualifying unless he was sandbagging while speaking to us. That's not very nice if that's the case, but he has a little bit more than I thought we thought he had. Nick Cohan with trouble?
Yeah, Nick Cohan has just gone off in the bus stop. He's back going. Devin Sarah has to dodge him. Tim Johnston's going to go around him through the carousel.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, let's go.
Man.
Yeah, just as you were explaining that there, Cohan, we've seen this already before with Adam Littell a little bit here, going too fast into the carousel. As that the hard right, he hits the bump too much, gets loose, spins around into the sand, immediately guns it to get back going, and barely just avoids getting hit by Sarah and Johnston. He's going to fall all the way back to 12th because of that mistake.
And a quick update, we've got one car in the pit. That's Devin Cannon on board, though, now with Devin Sarah. Endless replay here, and you see him just get by Nick. Boy, that was close. That might have taken off a layer of paint, one of the clear coats off the side of that car. Cannon sitting in the pit, though, still. Where is there some damage on that car? Yes, there is. On the hood of it, he may be taking damage repair right now. Already been in there for over a minute. That's really, really going to hurt. The Captain Motorsports driver with trouble early here. Yazik actually starting to open it up on Yazik just a little bit. I'm sorry, Krahula starting to open it on Yazik. Man, I am just losing it right now. Already getting loopy. 10 laps into this race. Say it isn't so.
It's so, I guess, as it's now lap 11, but you can see Yazik is losing time, as you noted there on Krahula. He was 4/10 slower on that lap. So Yazik is having some issues, it seems, possibly trying to handle the car. It seems to be he's a little more looser than he'd like to be than compared to the start of the race. He did say this is a loose track, of course, because the temperatures are 103 degrees on the track surface. So he's got to make sure to hold on, as we got some more updates involving Ricky Hart, and he's continuing to struggle with his connection, according to Race Control.
Yeah, I thought things had kind of settled down for him. Apparently they haven't, and that's tough. I hate that for him.
Yeah, he had been running in fourth. He's still in fifth, even with all this going on. But he still is up at, for internet connection, a ping of 558. For anyone who does not know computers, that is not good. So at any moment he can just drop off the map or blink into another car. So
yeah. And like I said earlier, that's not something we're used to seeing with Ricky Harden. So I hope whatever the problem is, I hope it does find a way to settle itself down. He can get back to actually doing some hardcore racing here. Speaking of hardcore racing, I'm still following Woodrow Mahan and Thomas George. Really, really, really good. Devin Serra and Thomas George. Devin really close, almost has a problem there out of a 90, but really giving good chase right now. The Fred J. Moyer Plumbing Chevrolet he's been solid this season since the Captain Motorsports team showed up. This could be a very important run for them this evening. Woodrow's done a great job of holding down that 8th spot of where he's started, but it is definitely under threat. And then just behind them, you've got a very fast Nick Cohan and Tim Johnston, who kind of got away from and stopped following. But Tim has not picked up any more spots yet, but he's got this one of Cohan in front of him. Maybe he'll let Cohan be the battering ram, and maybe he'll be there to pick up the pieces and more positions here in just a moment.
It's possible that might exactly be what he's thinking about, because, of course, Cohan had lost it to the bus stop and fell back to 12th. He's, of course, back to 11th now. If Johnston can keep up the pace, as Johnston almost lost the control on the exit, actually, but keeps it together, he might be able to follow him through, like you said. If Cohan keeps on making them, Cohan makes the car move past, Johnston then makes the pass right after. If he can do that pattern correctly, then he can gain a bunch of spots.
Well, Jeff Ward up front continues to open this up just a little bit more. He now 4 seconds ahead of James Krahula. It was 2.5 just 3 laps ago. Still setting the fastest laps on track right now. And we've got 3 wide back here. Boy, what a battle. Thomas George. Cohan gets by Serra.
Yeah, look at all this here as Johnston, it looks like he is going to do exactly that, try and follow through, but it looks like he can't exactly keep the exact pace, but he might be able to make a move on Serra if he gets a good exit. Man, Serra got loose again. Serra's been getting loose in the past lap and a half, much more as the race has gone on. But man, pure excitement right now.
Yeah. Here comes Adam Bateau looks like he might have taken a tow. Oh, more trouble for Adam, and it was in the bus stop again. Boy, Adam. Oh, and yeah, you're going to, on screen, we got this battle, though. We can't leave it. Cohan making another a dash.
Oh!
Oh, George is off.
Yeah, George lost control right in front of that battle. Let's take a look here. He had been in the front of that grouping, and he just took the bump again too deep, like Kohana did before, only he went very deep into the sandbox.
Okay, we're going to get back live here. Jeff Ward coming around. We'll start lap 15 here. Friends here in the YouTube chat are going to do a little tribute here for Patrick Taylor. If you're watching, pay attention to the chat.
And while that tribute is going on, Yazik has made a move for second, my friends.
Yeah, Yazik taking that away from Kahula. I didn't think that was going to happen anytime soon, but Yazik finding a way to get around, exposing a little weakness there in Kahula's armor. Yazik going to get that trip through the bus stop clean. He is now up to second.
Yeah, Yazik seems to have found the speed that had disappeared for a while Krahula had a full second lost on the last lap around. I wouldn't be surprised if it's in the same situation here. Krahula just a few laps ago was about 6/10 ahead. Now he's struggling to keep up 6/10 behind of Yazik, pardon me. Let's take a look at this as they come to the stripe here, these 2 lap times. It is still, like you see there, a 7/10 of a second faster right now, Yazik. So whatever issues Yazik was having before, he's figured it out. Whether it's brake bias adjustment or what.
We want to thank everybody in the chat to organize this lap 15 tribute to Patrick Taylor. Hashtag RIP Patrick Taylor. We're going to miss you, buddy. And Jeff Ward goes around, leads another lap here. James Kahula now back to third. Yazik up to second. That's been a big shake up there at the front. Those two have been battling for a long time. Ricky Harden still managing to stay in this thing, holding down fourth. Tyler Dalton in fifth. I'll tell you what, though, Nick Cohan still recovering from early trouble, and he is a man on a mission right now. He's still got about 3 seconds to go catch Woodrow Mahan, but he got around everybody else, and he's still digging. Tim Johnston up to 11th. Still trying to get around Devin Sarah, but there are some great battles going on out here, Justin. We've got a really, really good race on tap here from Watkins Glen this evening.
And these kind of races are exactly why Watkins Glen, especially in recent years, is one of the fan favorites. There are 35,000 seats around around this track, I should say, and about double that in camping space. And according to the president of Watkins Glen, he had said earlier last week that this is one of the 2 tracks that still sells out, Daytona and Watkins Glen. And the great views around the track to watch this action, not just from the TV cameras, but from trackside, are the reason of it, as you're seeing Joshua King with his battle for 15th with Calvin Forsky.
Yeah, Filarski, you know what? Having a decent run here. He's up 5 spots. He's worked hard to get there. Joshua King stands in his way right now, the top 15 finish. And I'll tell you what, I like the way that Camry is pedaling right now there for Filarski. Definitely putting pressure on Joshua King.
Speaking of pressure, pardon me there, Devin Cannon is back out. He's got pressure to not make mistakes again. He has repaired all the damage he had and almost lost it to the S's. Now he is back to going. But look at this pass here, or pass attempt, I should say, as Filarski still fighting hard with King here.
Yeah, Calvin actually almost pulled off a pass there back in the carousel, but does not get the job done. They were side by side. Filarski looking pretty itchy right now, though. Off the final turn, he was right there, but King gets the better of it, really. Goes back across the line, hangs on to that 15 spot for a little bit longer. Let's go up to a battle for 6th place. Drew Carroll chasing Jonathan Cadell. Cadell, maybe a little sloppy through the bus stop that time. Maybe not so much, though. We're on board with him, looking out. Back there, you see the 87 of Drew Carroll. Drew in that Chevrolet, the Impala SS, which we got big news today out of Chevrolet. Bye-bye Impala SS 2018. Hello, Camaro ZL1. Big news.
It's always big news when you have a new car model, really. You can see Carroll, meanwhile, tried to take a peek for the pass. But with that car model, of course, the Impala, the SS is not going to be in production anymore, leading to the change. You got to wonder how it's going to compete against the Toyota Camrys right now, which are some of the more dominant cars this season. It's a big change for sure. We're going to have to see how it goes here, as this is a bit nerve-wracking here with Cadell and Carroll here. Both of them getting a bit loose. And the S's on the bumps.
Yeah, Drew was definitely... Oh, and Drew almost blows the entry there on the bus stop. Gets it really hot, has to get on the binders. He slides it through there almost. Does a good job, though, of not really losing too much. Good recovery there by Drew Carroll. Boy, that was scary. He really got in hot to the bus stop. I thought he was going to slide on through there. It was a good job. Good feel for the brakes. Oh, Nick Cohan taking the position for Woodrow Mahan right behind him. Oh, boy, Cohan continues to just pick them up and knock them down. Cohan running the trading paint scheme this evening on his car.
And look at the speed difference, too, down the straightaway. Cohan going much faster compared to Mahan, really. That's why he is running about a full second and a half faster. Even with that pass, it was about a full second difference. Like you said, Cohan's a man on a mission. He wants to get back up to around the pace he had compared to his car, which is where Drew Carroll is with his battle with Cadell.
Yeah, Nick feeling the pressure of my woodshed pick and really getting busy here in the early stages of this race. But we worked lap 20. Now, we talked about a fuel window of possibly the halfway point, maybe about 32 laps. And, well, then we have the rando to worry about. The rando, the random caution. I like to call it the rando. The randinator, the ranster. We'll call it the random caution flag sometime between laps 21 and 42. So, here we go. And I spoke too soon. Pit stop starting to fall. James Carula, Tyler Dalton, both coming in the pits now. Down the pit lane. Here we go. Action. That's a little bit of a surprise.
Well, this is definitely a strategy move, if I say so, because this was definitely not expected, if I believe, because you did say the competition caution window started now. Maybe they are banking on that being early this time around. The last time we were at a track where that happened, which was Mosport, Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, it happened just after the pit stops. I'm guessing they aren't expecting that to be the same thing today as Carula is coming out of the pits.
Yeah, I don't think you can ever really gamble on when that's going to happen. I think you just, you do what your strategy says. Now, they're going to get to the halfway point, obviously not have a chance to get that halfway bonus, but they've got that pit stop in the bag right now, and I think a little bit off strategy here could work. Now, what does this leave us with? Well, it leaves us with the lead car, Jeff Ward, who is now lapping cars, working through traffic, and I see Ricky Harden now coming down the pit lane. So again, not necessarily an original concept. A lot of teams deciding to come down and get that stop in now. Harden and Tim Johnston, another car that was moving up to 8 spots, goes in from the 8th position into the pit. Rick Thompson just making the call.
Yeah, a lot of cars here. Well, you did say for a lot of people, while you can make it on fuel with one stop, tires are also important, too, when you think about it, or when I think about it more in depth. That might be what people are thinking. 20 tires on 21, 21, 21 maybe, for example, something around that. for the tires, which may be why everyone has decided, let's go in, get some fresh Goodyear Eagles, and make sure this car has a lot of grip for the next part of the race here, as Jeff Ward still having to navigate through lap traffic right now with a 9-second lead over Brian Yazik. My goodness.
Yeah, well, with grip being a big factor at this track to keep the speed up, and we have a hot track, I certainly don't know that we'll see anyone gamble. I'm now looking at the lead, though, that Ward has opened up on Yazik now, almost 10 seconds. Boy, what a mountain to climb. I don't think you can make that 10 seconds up in the pits unless Ward makes a mistake. But right now, Yazik and Ward stuck to each other's strategy here for the moment. So we'll see how this plays out. But I've been watching Yazik here for a couple laps, and that car looks a little squirrely right now. It looks like that maybe the grip has fallen off just a bit. Not shocked here, 23 laps into this race, but Yazik does seem to be fighting it just a bit. Seems to be a little bit better trip around for Jeff Ward right now, who quite frankly hasn't been under any pressure during this race, has been able to just drive the car at a moderate pace and just enough to keep himself with a nice cushion. So he not driving the wheels off it. Yazik probably is right now. Drew Carroll, another 4.5 seconds behind Yazik. Jonathan Cadell, a little over 5.5 seconds now behind in fourth. And Nick Cohan rounding at your top five. Cohan right back up to where he started finally. He is back up to fifth and now finds himself 4 seconds behind Cadell and Carroll. And those are the next positions he stands to pick up. But all these drivers, for everything we're talking about, all these drivers still have to make a pit stop here at some point, and we've got this random caution flag to consider. We are past lap 21, and anytime between 21 and 42, we could see this caution flag come out. It's all up to the race control and the magic 8 ball, Justin.
Exactly, because some of these drivers might be holding out for that exact caution, but they can't make it on fuel if the caution was to come late, of course, because the fuel is 32 to 33. So guys who have not come in, like Travis McQuistion, for example, Brian Yazik, Jeff Ward, they're going to have to make sure that they make sure to either start conserving or still go in on 32 and let the strategy fall where it lies, because they got to make sure this car stays balanced and does not spin out with these old tires. And speaking of spins, Thomas George.
Oh boy, that's tough for him. Now let's go on the replay here in the bus stop, and boy, that's where we've seen the trouble. He got a little too far over there in the entry, and that just really screwed everything up from there.
Yeah, that entry for the bus stop, especially the hard right then left, has had a few victims today go loose, either because of going too fast or hitting the bumps too hard. The rumble strips on the right side of that turn. Now George 14th having to hold off Tim Johnston, as Johnston, a great exit, will make the pass going into one.
Yeah, Johnston just coming out of the pits on those new tires. It's been out there for 3 laps, so tires get past George. That shows you just how far Thomas George has fallen now. What a deficit for him to have to crawl out of now. He finds himself now 41, almost 42 seconds back from the leader. Still needs to make a pit stop. He's going to need a lot of luck to get himself up to the top 10. But we'll continue to hope the best for him here. But a lot of people on chat right now, I think we get more drivers contemplating whether or not to come down. We're still waiting for that random caution flag, which still hasn't come out. Just checked back in. Devin Serra now coming in the pits. There's the Captain Motorsports Chevrolet. Fred J. Moore Plumbing on that car.
His teammate Brett Bucari also coming in. So both Captain Motorsports cars deciding to bring it in here on lap 26.
I don't think anybody's playing around with strategy here at this point. It's 4 tires and fuel for everyone. So far, so good on that. You see Sarah getting away. gets away clean. He's clear ahead, clear behind. No traffic there to deal with for Sarah.
Yeah, and same for Bukhari right behind him. The only cars behind him at the moment are Jeff Ward, of course, and Jonathan Lawrence really in the top. The next two cars he has to worry about, especially, of course, Ward still in the 113s for pace at the moment. As Jonathan Lawrence has had a quiet day so far. He's been fairly clean with the quiet day, of course. You have to wonder if Jeff Ward is figuring it might be time to come in, as he's starting to let cars with fresher tires go by, like Joshua King.
And listen, I'll tell you what, good news for Brian Yazik. He is starting to pick up Jeff Ward, man. This is happening. Jeff Ward was almost 10 seconds ahead. He now finds himself just 6.5 seconds back. Brian Yazik is. Yazik's starting to pick up the pace just a little bit as we get ready and we anticipate pit stops coming for these drivers. Not if, but when at this point. Ward, still your leader, seems to have backed off just a bit. Doesn't want to put too much pressure on the driver in front of him. Josh King got those fresh tires. Ward doesn't. But again, this has kind of opened up things for Yazik, who is now in the pit. So much for that. Yazik chased hard, chased well, but now he will pit. Drew Carroll, Jonathan Goodell, all go by. Your top three now: Jeff Ward, Drew Carroll, and Jonathan Goodell.
Yeah, and speaking of Carroll, he had got by Goodell. That was a battle we were watching for some time. So Drew Carroll now was able to get by Goodell. Goodell had been fairly looser at times on exits compared to Carroll. But Goodell might want that position back. You can see he's trying to poke his nose out through the bus stop. Is just not there to make that said move, but might be able to get it if Carroll slips up. And it might also help that John Wilco's there. Well, that's going to definitely help Carroll.
Yeah, Jonathan Lawrence making the call. He's coming into the pits. Several drivers still have to get this sorted out. The top five all on track right now. Still need a pit stop. We have not seen the random caution yet. In that window now.
And Drew Carroll's also not going to wait for that random caution or until it goes empty. He's in. So about 2/3 of the field's in, my friend.
All right, now the first of those cars to come in was James Kahula. We've got to pay attention to where he's at on track now. He's continuing to pick up spots. He now finds himself in 6th. And he is the first car, that came in the pit. Everybody ahead of him still has to come in. That's Woodrow Mahan, Nick Cohan, Jonathan Goodell, and Jeff Ward, your top 4. They're from 4th to 1st. Don't want to confuse anybody.
Yeah, and you got to think it's going to be within the next couple laps for sure, because halfway is just a couple laps away for 1, and 2, you got to be almost done tire grip wise. Goodell is still 11.5 seconds back. Who knows? He may decide, may as well come in now with the gap as it is, because you have to wonder if who's targeting for bonus points and who isn't. And it looks like Goodell's staying out.
We are just about to the halfway point here tonight. Oh boy. Jeff Ward's got it lined up now.
Now you can see he's letting by Rick Thompson, who has fresh. Oh my goodness!
My. Ward is stuck in the wall there at the end of the Armco barrier just before the entrance of the bus stop. He will have to tow. Oh my, let's go to this replay.
Oh my goodness, that is just all I can really say. He was letting Rick Thompson by, who had fresher tires. It looks like he went too fast on the entry, and bam. Yeah, let's take a look at the above view. My goodness.
Go ahead, Justin. I'm in shock.
I'm in shock here too. Let's take a look at the above here because I don't know if it was because, yeah, just Ward went up the track while going fast on the entry, trying to cut behind Thompson, and it collected both of them. That is the worst possible luck Jeff Ward could have, as he was dominant. Now, Jonathan Goodell's going in now, but that gives Nick Cohan the lead.
It does. Nick Cohan is now your leader. James Krahula up to second. Remember, Cohan still needs a pit stop. We still need a random caution. Wow, wow, wow. Boy, the face of this race is now taking a huge shift. Jonathan Goodell, Travis McQuistion, Calvin Filarski in the pit. Goodell coming out now. So much going on here, folks.
And obviously Rick Thompson's in with the smoking engine from that as well. Just the whole complexion of this entire race has changed just like that, just before halfway to, my friend.
Well, Nick Cohan can stay out on track this lap. He will be out of the last turn. Well, it's supposed to be lap 32, but Cohan comes in. James Krahula going to go across your leader here at the start of lap 32. If he can hang on to it, he will be your NP3 Designs. I'm sorry, he will be your American Pool Supply Halfway Award winner. Krahula now in the lead, being followed by Ricky Harden, who does seem to have straightened out his connection issues. Ricky chasing James up through the S's. They're making the run down to the bus stop. The lapped car of Jeff Ward, now the lapped car and damaged car of Jeff Ward, right in front of them. And boy, Jeff Ward's car really crippled. Here comes Krahula down this back straight here, setting up for turn 7. Ricky Hart, I don't know if Ricky's got enough to get to him here. Boy, I don't think James expected this. He's going to come out of the last turn here, make the run up to the start-finish line. James Krahula is going to take the American Pool Supply Halfway Award. Woo! What a run for Krahula so far. Ricky Harden hot on his tail. Those two have both taken their pit stops. And they took them a long time ago. They don't have enough time to finish this, or don't have enough fuel to finish this race. So they are going to need to pit again. We're still waiting on that random caution. Here comes Ricky Harden trying to set James up here for a move. Made a little contact there at the top of the S's.
Yeah, and Harden, because his connection issues have settled down and his connection is back to normal, he's able to make pushes like this. You can see he is just trying to keep on that back bumper big time and knows he has the chance to be a faster car, it seems. Let's take a look here. You can see Harden not as good of an exit. Krahula able to spread it out still to just about 0.6 of a second as they approach turn 11 this time. And you can see Krahula, a great exit. Harden did not get the speed he needed as he's able to pull it away. Yeah, lots of different action across this track as we are currently seeing these two duke it out. Brian Yazik, meanwhile, did go in for pit stops, as mentioned as well. He is just 4.7 seconds back, with Tyler Dalton trying to close in. As you can see, Yazik has been battling a well-handling car to loose car to well-handling car to loose car. Same situation for Tyler Dalton all day, as Yazik has been faster through the S's, as the gap went right up to 2.1 seconds.
Oh, Ricky Harden sliding at the exit of the bus stop. Ooh, just he was right behind Krahula. Justin Rodden able to get around. Let's catch the replay here. Boy, Ricky's still trying to get turned around. Here it is on the replay. He's going to come out of the bus stop. Just gets back to the throttle a little bit, and here comes the yellow flag, lap 34. Wow. This is the random caution.
I mean, technically it's a caution for the spin too, but of course there was expected to be this caution. As you can see coming around, here is Krahula, as he is currently your leader in this one. Just...
boy, oh boy. Well, the pace car is in the S's, and everybody's going to have to come around and pick up the pace car here. I'm really interested to see what Yazik and Tyler Dalton, Tim Johnson, I'm curious to see what these guys are going to do. I've got to assume they're coming down the pit lane. We're well past the halfway point. They are definitely going to need fuel to finish this race. Position being so important, I still think you need to cut. You know you got to have to come in. You're probably going to need to want to come in and do it now. Give yourself enough time to get back up to the front. Most everyone on track, I don't know, probably the top 10, maybe the top 12 all come down. We'll see here. Everybody may come down. But that random caution comes out at lap 34. We're working 35 now, bringing everybody around. Pits will be open. It's going to be a scramble, folks. Justin Rodden getting our first lucky dog of the evening. Let's bring out Brutus. He is just chomping at the pit. There he is. Good boy. There's Brutus, the Coastal Safety Auditors lucky dog. Coastal Safety Auditors, your one-stop shop for fire, life, and safety equipment. Good to see Brutus. He's having fun here at Watkins Glen. One of the great things about Watkins Glen, Justin, he's got plenty of room to run around, buddy. He's been marking his territory all over this infield tonight, and finally nice to get him out here. Could be the only time we see him, though, as this was the random caution of the night. We may not see another caution. They come out of turn 8, and guess what? Oh, everybody up front going, ooh, Yazik checks up in the back there of James. A lot of cars coming down, but boy, not all of them. We've got Jonathan Lawrence staying out on the track. Nick Cohan stays out, so does Woodrow Mahan.
Yeah, and here they come. Harden, one of the last few to roll into the pit stall, as Yazik did get a little tiny bit of damage from that. All cars really taking 4 tires. So Tim Johnston might be playing the strategy car, though. Yazik comes first out of the pit stops.
Look at that race off the pit lane. It was a good one. We're going to get this all settled. Think about it for just a moment. We're going to take a quick break here on the Global Sim Racing channel. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Patrick Taylor Memorial here from the Glen this evening. Patrick Taylor, good friend of many here in the Premier Racing League, unexpectedly passed away a couple days ago. We're paying tribute to him tonight, one of the Lionheart IndyCar Series admins, and again, friend to many of us. We're here to celebrate his life, have a little fun on the racetrack tonight, and we're having it. Nick Cohan going to get us restarted here from the point. Woodrow Mayhead with him. The roof getting ready to pull off here now. Justin, it's time to fire him up one more time. Take us to the end. Here we go. Lap 38 coming your way. We're working it now in a mad scramble. Down to turn 1. Here we go. James Grahula braking really neat. Oh, man. Cohan hanging on with Woodrow Mayhead right there at his door. And it looks like Yazik gets the jump there on Grahula as they go through the S's. Look at Cohan go. Got the speed, got the legs, running up the straightaway. Yazik going to make a move. They're going to try and make it 3 wide. Here comes Grahula. Yazik with a defensive move there on Grahula. Breaks his momentum. Scrambling behind them, guys. Everybody now dropping in line. Looks like we're finally back to back here, nose to tail, line astern. They head down that back straightaway for turn 7.
And Jeff Ward dropping spots immediately. He was one of the cars who did not go in on that caution because he, of course, had the incident where he lost his front end, got stuck in the wall, had a tow, and still managed to stay on the lead lap because he did not get the repairs. As you can see, he does not have the speed down the straightaways like he had, like compared to the air cars and he had before. He's barely holding on to the 5th spot right now, trying to hold on and block Carroll as much as he can, as Carroll is going to go and try and make the move in the S's, and smartly backs away.
Wow. Here goes Yazik's got the run on Woodrow Mayhead, actually. Let's go to that one real quick and see him, Yazik. Not enough of a run to dip to the inside into the bus stop, though he backs out just a bit. Yazik does appear to have a little bit better car than Mayhem right now. Fresher tires. But all this has done is allowed Nick Cohan to just pull himself away from this field. Nice separation, a second and a half. All done within basically a lap and a half. Grahula back here having a tremendous fight with Tim Johnston. Tim Johnston, who started all the way back in 17th place, finds himself now here in the top 5. Having a solid run. He has recovered well. Had a great pit stop.
Yeah, great pit stop. About half a second slower than most of the field, actually. A 14 flat Johnston. Maybe put in a little less fuel. That might come into play later. But it is playing out as you're seeing. But we got more battles. Cadell trying to hold off Devin Serra at the moment through the S's, as it's a 4-car battle there. Looking at this here. Look at this battle here. Everyone going through the S's. Cars trying to line themselves up for the pass, but Christian trying to look for the move.
Yeah, that's what we call a gaggle back there. That is definitely a gaggle of cars, man. All trying to fight for that same piece of real estate.
And Brett Bucari just had the example of fighting for that same real estate, coming too wide out of the exit. He'll lose 3 spots because he had to go to the grass to avoid causing chaos, as he was too wide with Joshua King. Now he's behind all of them, Faworski, Rodden, as well as King. As we're looking at our GSRC replay to show you here.
Sorry, I had to go back up front because Yazik tried to get this move done on Mayhem, and it was out of the last turn. It did not work out. Well, all that did was, though, was it brought James Grahula into the picture all over Yazik now. And coming to the party, Drew Carroll gets into this mix now. It's a 5-car battle here because guess what? They're letting Nick Cohan check out now. That's not a good thing for the competitors here. Oh, look at that. Tim Johnston with a slip. We missed it there. We weren't on board with him, but Tim Johnston with a slip there is going to allow Drew Carroll to get around. Drew Carroll finds himself now in that 5th spot. Oh, we got a replay of it. Look at that. All right, we're coming out of the S's here. Johnston is gonna just get it a little bit out of shape here. Maybe he could let him by. Maybe Johnston trying to pick up a little bit of fuel here. I don't know. We'll see. Did he maybe gamble with taking just a little bit less fuel there on the pit lane? It's possible. Yazik trying to pull off this move again. Yazik all over the bumper. That's Ford-on-Ford battle there. Oh, and Yazik's going to get it down into turn 1. Finally, pulling off that move on Brian on Mahan.
Scratch
Yazik
that.
runs it out, crosses him over. Here comes Krahula.
Yeah, Yazik took it way too hard and just went wide on the exit. That's why he lost the spot to Mahan right there. Looks he'll try and get it back as fast as he can, though. Great exit to the S's. Gaining speed on Mahan, coming to the bus stop. And it looks like he'll try and line it up once again. It's now a 6-car battle with Ricky Harden joining onto the back.
Yeah, and just behind Ricky Harden is Tyler Dalton. Hello, Tyler. Come on, we're all waiting for you. No, Cohan's not waiting. No, Cohan now over 3 seconds ahead. Still continuing to widen this gap.
You have to wonder. Sorry about that. You go ahead, because I think you have the more important point. I was just going to say that this is exactly what Cohan's probably wanting to see behind him, where the cars are battling against each other instead of, focusing on catching up to him. The more they battle with each other, the more he can stretch it out for the end of this race.
Yeah, definitely. Now, what does this mean for Brian Yazik? We see right there is chasing and throwing up some rocks all over the hood of James Krahula. I'm going to get to my point, I promise. Yazik sitting pretty right now in this points battle for the summer session. Right now, things ended just like they are. He definitely stands to be your champion. But Nick Cohan, they're doing all he can up front now. Like I said, over 3 seconds ahead of Woodrow Mahan. Actually, they did pick up just a little bit there. Jeff Ward, though, unfortunately, let's check in with him and what's happened since the restart. That car, very badly damaged. Jeff, staying on track, is now dropped all the way down to 13th. And unfortunately, I think he's going to continue to tumble. The car doesn't have any speed. Can't imagine it's handling very well. It does look like an SK modified. I'm going to be honest with you. It looks like he's maybe had a run at Martinsville, and certainly not Watkins Glen. But Jeff out there fighting a good fight right now, just trying to bring that thing home with a finish. Because the season points are still at stake as well, the overall season points. So this is still an important race for him. Oh, Yazik with a bit of a wiggle there as they came out of the S's on the back straight. Had a tense moment. I think Krahula thought about making a move to the inside, coming down to the bus stop. He thinks better of it, but now Krahula with a really nice run through that bus stop, looks to the inside of the carousel, trying to get a better run on Yazik here. Yazik just going to have a little bit of the edge on the exit. Krahula's going to fall off just a bit. Yazik find a nice power there in his Ford.
You look at this, though, with Drew Carroll. He's trying to poke his nose through 10. That was an interesting trying to pass there, as Carroll wants to press his go buttons here. As you can see, all of them getting good exits. This is about to turn completely into the 7-car battle with Dalton. Cadell wants to make it 8 at this point. All of them lining up and becoming a train.
Well, we find ourselves with 17 laps to go. I'm going to tell you now, right here, Justin, it's time to boogie, baby. Let's get this party started. Woodrow Mahan sitting here in second place, having a career run here in the Premier Racing League tonight. Woodrow primed to finish on the podium now. He just keep this together and he can keep Brian Yazik at bay. And get some pretty angry machines behind him. No, there's Krahula making a move on Yazik.
Oh, man, that was close. He got very tight there on the exit, trying to take advantage of that. It could have been a disaster entering the carousel, exiting the carousel, and the tunnel straight away, going back into single file there.
Boy, and Yazik's had several close moments this evening. Krahula doing a really, really good job. Great racecraft there, not letting that car slide off and kick Yazik off the course. I mean, you see that way too often here in these races, and we know how that ends up. It didn't that time. Man, you see Yazik up in front, still struggling, still trying to hang on to the car. Krahula's just been relentless, keeping the pressure on him. Yazik gotta be sweating. Gotta be.
Yeah, he's got a fast car. It's just when those tires were out, can he handle the handling? He has shown that when the handling starts to get into a factor, it'll take him a few laps to adjust compared to other tracks this season. You can see on that entrance there, he's slightly loose coming in, and that is essentially the symptoms of your car is starting to become an evil genius. You have to make sure he doesn't become the overlord of the world, essentially, with that crazy metaphor. But he's got to make sure he hangs on, because one mistake, you'll lose all those positions and you'll fall all the way back to Dalton. Is where'd he go? And he's back.
All right, well, that was interesting. Everything is fine. No panic. The only thing that isn't fine, and that's Nick Cohan. He's perfect right now, and I don't know if the rest of this field's got enough to catch him at this point. I think only mistake could to take this away from Nick Cohan right now. He's got to be solid here over the last about 14 and a half laps to go, and just stay focused. Yazik still battling with Krahula. Look at this. Yazik gets in really, really hot to the bus stop, almost loses it on the entry, but then gathers it right back up. Krahula not able to do anything with that. Krahula having to worry about Ricky Harden right behind him. Ricky really seems, I'm sorry, not Ricky Harden, it's the 87. Another red and black car there messing me up. That's Drew Carroll. There's Ricky Harden behind Tim Johnston. This venomous snake keeps weaving its way around this track, and lots of interesting colors in there, but several of them the same. And I need to adjust my rods and cones here real quick, Justin.
Yeah, Devin Cannon actually tried to avoid the snake by going into the gravel, as you've seen in the backdrop of that. He is currently 21st overall, 10 laps down with that damage from before as he lets more cars go by. But this snake is continuing to grow and expand, as Jonathan Goodell is almost at the back door. Tyler Dalton, who is currently your tail-end driver of that. Woodrow Mahan having, as many people have described, the career run, one of the best runs we've seen in the Premier Racing League from him. And he's just trying to hold on for one of his best career finishes, really. Meanwhile, Cohan, you have to wonder, can he keep the pace, a 3.5 second lead at the moment? But Mahan was still faster the last time around.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, these guys behind Mahan may help his cause more than anything. They are racing awful hard. Krahula continues to try and make attacks at Brian Yazik. Now Krahula's trying to hold off. Oh, and Krahula gets loose off into the wall there. Brings it back in, but that allows everybody to get by. Tim Johnson, Drew Carroll, Ricky Harden all slide in there. Now Ricky, who's that back there? Carroll getting around Tim Johnson. There comes Ricky Harden. No, Harden's got to back out of it. There in the S's.
Yeah, both Carroll and Johnston on the exit of the first corner almost lost it. Going too wide, that led to Carroll being able to keep the position. But man, a huge mistake by Krahula on the exit of 11. Man, like I said, one mistake, you lose a bunch of spots. That's exactly what happened, as Harden's now in the back door of Johnston.
Yeah, and that's really going to be tough for James to get those spots back, because these guys are fighting hard. Ricky Harden been fighting hard with Tim Johnston here. Harden could have, ooh, wow, look at that exit for Harden. Boy, we could see that on board with him as he was getting out of the carousel. He really nailed it. Able to get by Johnson. Now Krahula around Johnston. on the inside of him there. In turn 7, and Krugel gets loose. Wow, what a close moment for Krugel. That allows Tyler Dalton to get by. Jonathan Goodell sneaking up next to him now. Krugel going to get away with that one, but lose another spot. James continuing to slide back through the field. Those old tires, the 14 laps on those tires starting to take their toll.
Yeah, it also doesn't help where he was trying to make the passes somewhere where you usually don't see passes because it's very hard, of course, to hold acceleration on the exit. And then you have the quick right in 11 a few meters down. So it ends up costing him more spots than what he wanted because now he's back in 8th. It's going to take a long time to try and work his way back up to where he was. And he might not have enough time to work his way back up. Even with as good of a run as he has had, as Cadell's going to lose a bunch of time from his exit from the bus stop, it looks like. Yeah, and you can see Devin Serra's closing in right now on him. This is 9th position, just behind where the snake is. Yazik has gotten by Woodrow Mahan, meanwhile, to note that as Yazik is on a charge quickly. We are going to quickly find that for your GSRC replay.
Yep. We'll get it here in a moment. I was out on the last turn, actually. It was Woodrow Mahan has a bit of a slip there out of turn 8. And it does allow Yazik to get around. Here it is on the GSRC replay. Then I'm going to rewind it just a little bit more because it was right before the turn there. Looked like Woodrow gets a little bit tight on the entry here to turn 8. And when he does, he's got to catch it. Oh! And he catches it, but it comes at a cost with Yazik going around and Yazik now in his 2nd place, actually starting to open up a little bit of distance. He's already put him almost 2 seconds down. Mahan just loses a spot. Drew Carroll continuing his tumble.
And Hardin just bumped him in the rear end too, saying go, essentially. So Mahan, despite the great run, one mistake has caused the rest of the snake to gobble him up. He's going to have to fight hard to keep the position just for 4th now because Hardin's been making a good charge. Johnson's making a good charge. You have Krahula wanting to make his way back up. And now you have Cadell, Sarah, George, all approaching the back end of this line. 10 to go now. No more cautions from here on out. Sean.
That's right. Yeah, we won't see another one tonight. Brutus, keep running, buddy. Enjoy your last little bit of time out there running around the infield because we are green to the end. And it is Nick Cohan on point. We're going to run it down for you here real quick with 10 to go. Nick Cohan, Brian Yazik, Drew Carroll, Woodrow Mahan, Ricky Hardin, your top 5. Justin, take the next 5.
Tim Johnston's currently in 6th spot right now in line, trying to keep up with Hardin, while James Krahula had been running in the top 3 for much of the race and lost some spots. He's trying to gain back up. You can see with the battles, though, there's a lot of shifting around that could happen still. Tyler Dalton in 8th, Jonathan Grindell in 9th. Tim Johnston, in fact, going to get passed by Krahula, pardon me. So a quick change there. I did say that could happen. We're going to have to see what happened with Johnston there, as that was right on your screen as that was going on. Johnston must have had a very bad exit out of that corner for that to happen. We apologize for that interruption to the rundown. Let's take a look at the replay.
Well, let's see what happened here with Tim. We're on board with him there, coming on a turn. And it's just he's spinning the wheels, yeah.
Yeah, it's the exact same thing almost that happened to Mahan. Just wheel spinned it on the exit and just got loose. This is the slick track. These are very worn tires at this point. And the strategy that he had is no longer playing off as well because he's lost all the spots he's really gained from that pit strategy. Just because now Krahula's gone by, everyone else has gone by, really. Meanwhile, Yazik, he's still trying to close this gap on Cohan, but it's still 3.8 seconds, Sean.
Yeah, it is. I think the real battle we need to focus on right now is Drew Carroll trying to hang on to this podium position. Woodrow Mahan would love to take it back. Still have very, very close competitive times. Both of them, really, it's going to come down to the tiniest little mistake by either driver here to settle this podium spot. We cannot discount Ricky Harden. Harden, sitting back here in 5th, has been persistent all night, even with the fact that he's dealt with some connection issues. At North Star Chevrolet continues to hammer out lap after lap. He is in striking distance also for a possible podium finish. Going to need something to happen, and just behind him, here comes James Corula, who has started to kind of get on it just a bit, turning up the wick. Corula getting a pretty fast run through the carousel, looks to catch up to these two. And then there's Tim Johnston, another car that we've been following all night. He sits with an outside chance there in 7th. And that right there, those 6 cars, or I'm sorry, those 5 cars, all battling for that final podium spot here with 7 laps to go when we come across the line out of this last turn. Here in the Patrick Taylor Memorial at the Glen. Can't believe we've just got 7 laps to go. So much time put in this evening on this track, and honestly, Justin, it has just flown by, baby.
Yeah, it has. It's just been about an hour and a half of action. It hasn't felt like it, but that's been the case. But we still, like you said, have 7 to go. A lot, and I mean a lot, can happen. Like if Nick Cohan makes one mistake, that could completely change the perception of this race. He is stretching out the lead big time now because it's gone to more than 4 seconds. It was just about 3.7 a lap ago, Sean. So he is pushing the gas as hard as he can to try and continue to stretch this out. You have to wonder how he's able to stretch it out as much as he can, because he's 0.6 faster than Yaz. Well, yeah, about 0.4 faster than Yazek on the last time around. And you'll see the lap difference right now to get that time. Drew Carroll just coming up right behind him.
Boy, I thought Tim Johnson was really making a legitimate run there at James Corula, and then things kind of tailed off just a bit. Any one of these battles could erupt at any moment, but you know what? If you're in one of those battles, you better get busy. You better start thinking about your end game. Time is certainly running out here, and it's running away quickly. This race will be wrapping up here in just under about 8 minutes. Maybe a little less than that. You've got about 8 minutes to make the most important decision of this race season right now. If you're up here and you've got a chance to get yourself on the podium, it's time to figure out a strategy to do it.
Yeah, look at Jeff Ward, though. He had been trying to get a week sweep with all the series for the trucks, the Grand National Series, and the Cup race today. Unfortunately, with the incident that happened, that's not possible. He's still battling here for 12th for Travis McQuiston and 13th right now. So, yeah, while he has lost that straightaway speed, he still has the better quartering speed, believe it or not, my friend, and is still competing.
And that's all driver right there, manhandling that machine around Watkins Glen. And, well, I'll tell you what, great effort by Jeff Ward after some really, really bad luck. This thing is not over yet. It's not over for Brian Yazek. I'll tell you what, Drew Carroll really, really looking antsy here. Maybe looking to make a run at second place. Carroll is right there with him. I mean, it's half a second. Carroll actually getting a nice run through the bus stop there, able to close it up on Yazek here in the carousel. Don't make that move too early. Don't give your opponent a chance to take it back. Carroll hanging it on the ragged edge. Carroll gets a little bit loose there. Going to take a little bit better care of it there on the left-hander. It's Yazek who has a little bit of a wiggle up there in front of him. They're both going to get off of turn 8 here clean. Yazek getting that car a little bit loose as he was putting the power down. Devin Cannon getting out of the way, letting these two battle.
Smart move by Cannon, of course, with the damage he has and being a lap car. He's staying, trying to avoid everything as much as he can, especially with this thrilling battle going on between these two for the second spot. And they are closing up a little bit on Nick Cohan because Cohan is going through some of the lap traffic right now in front of them. Yeah, look at this, down to 3.6 now, 3.5.
Boy, and I really thought Woodrow Mahan had a chance to go after Drew Carroll, but Drew Carroll decided to maybe try and fight for that second position, and it has left Mahan hanging out here with Ricky Harden. James Carolla still chasing him. These three still have a really good battle going. Anything could change right there. Those three spots have not been decided. Travis McQuistion and Jeff Ward still back here fighting for 12th. Ward trying to just get at least one more position back. Mahan on screen, side by side with Jimmy Carolla. Oh boy, who's going to outbreak who here? Woodrow runs him out wide just a bit. James brings it back in clean. They're going to go side by side through the S's. Oh boy, hang on. 3 laps to go. James gets around, finally pulls that off on Woodrow. James gets himself back up to a top 5 right now. That might be as good as it gets because he does still have to worry about Woodrow Mahan. And here comes Tim Johnston. Oof, what a run he got there on Mahan heading into the bus stop.
Yeah, and Mahan still holding on with 5th, even with the little tiny mistakes down the stretch. Johnston could close it here, and it looks like Mahan got the better exit to keep up with Carolla pace-wise. Let's take a look at this battle here again for second, though. As you can see, Yazik and Carroll, this is getting very close between these two. And Carroll just does not have the same speed to keep up as we're 2 to go now. It's going to come down to this for the position here. Well, Nick Cohan, all he has to do is hope he does not make the ultimate mistake, my friend.
And Yazik holding off Carroll back here. This has been a fun run to watch here between those two as we go on board with Carroll. You see, he just doesn't have quite enough on the straightaway speed. Yazik seems to just have a little bit more top end in his Ford that Carroll's got in that Chevy. But then we get into the carousel, and that really seems to be where Drew Carroll seems to have the edge on this track. A little bit loose off there by Carroll, a little bit of a wiggle. He's still digging. Next time they come by the flag here, it's going to be a white one. In fact, Nick Cohan going to take that white flag now. 1 lap to go for your leader, Nick Cohan. Yazik, Carroll still battling out to decide who gets second, who gets third. And boy, I'll tell you what, it's not close back to Ricky Harden. He's over 2 seconds back. He's going to need a lot of help if he hopes to improve on that position. Jonathan Cadell just got by. Tim Johnston gets up to that 8th spot.
Yeah, with some help of the lap car, really. But look at this battle here. While Cohan is focusing on his drive, these two are just looking to try and get second spot. Let's see who goes to the bus stop. Gotta have the perfect entry and exit.
Oh boy. And just behind them, though, James Carolla and Woodrow Mahan are having the exact same kind of battle. So close, too close to call. What isn't close is Nick Cohan. Really got a good lead on them coming to the final turn now. The Patrick Taylor Memorial here at the Glen takes Nick Cohan to victory lane. Another win in this long season here in the Premier Racing League for Nick Cohan. Finally finds his way back to victory lane. Second place going to go to Brian Yazik and Drew Carroll. How about that top 3? And Nick Cohan, your big winner. Time for him to get back into victory lane and boy, what a race. Cars still coming through here. Josh King trying to take that 14th spot. He's going to get it. Out of the final turn now. Justin Rodden. Calvin Filarski still fighting for 16th. Looks like Filarski going to get that 16th spot. Penkari going to take the 17th spot. What a race here tonight at the Glen. Justin, we are going to take a quick break here on the Global Sim Racing channel. And we'll be back in just a moment to give you your complete results, crown a summer season champion, and maybe talk to a few guys about this race today. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Global Sim Racing channel and the completion of the Patrick Taylor Memorial at the Glen this evening. Wow, what a race. We just saw there 61 laps of fast and furious action here at the Glen. And let's run this down for you here, the results this evening. Nick Cohan, your big winner. I'm feeling pretty lucky right now. I have to play the lottery tomorrow. Brian Yazik with a big second place finish tonight. He's pretty excited, and he's also clinched a championship for the summer session here. Drew Carroll finishes third. That was a hard-fought third place. It seemed like he was hanging on to that for a while. Ricky Harden overcame a lot of adversity tonight. Finishes fourth. James Scarola did everything he could to put that 81 up on the podium. He falls just a little bit short, but man, what a run. Definitely have to respect that. Woodrow Mahan, 6th. Tyler Dalton, 7th. We didn't even talk about him much tonight. Pretty quiet run for Tyler, but a 7th place finish. Jonathan Cadell finally gets done with his probationary period here. He'll finish 8th and looked like he did it pretty well. I think things are going to be okay for John now. In 9th, Tim Johnston, and rounding out the top 10, Devin Serra in the Captain Motorsports entry.
Yeah, and Thomas George just finished outside of the top 10, 11th overall, 17 seconds back of those leaders. Travis McQuistion, he had a fairly quiet run. He came away with 12 in front of Jeff Ward, which Ward, of course, had led the most laps before his trouble into the bus stop about halfway through the race. He comes away 13th. Joshua Kane, he's happy he finished off this race in 14th. He had a fairly decent run. Justin Ryan 15th. Calvin Florsky finishing 16th. Brent Bukhari in the 17th. John Wilco coming away with the 18th spot, 2 laps down. Jonathan Lawrence, 19th on the finishing grid. And as well in 20th overall, Devin Cannon. Rounding out your field, Rick Thompson, Andrew Jones, and Adam Littell. The last of those two had DNFs.
All right. Well, big race here that we talked about this evening. And, I think it's maybe time to talk to the winner of this thing, Nick Cohan. Nick, congratulations on a big win this evening. I'm not taking any credit for this, man. You did it all yourself. Congratulations on winning the Patrick Taylor Memorial here at the Glen this evening.
Yeah, I'm still shocked that we pulled this one off, especially with spinning the bus stop. But more importantly, shout out to Patrick Taylor. I didn't know him, but it's always sad to see something like that, especially in the community of iRacing. It's very sad, but I'm dedicating this one to him. And, yeah.
Well, Nick, you talked about that spin. Listen, you had to scratch, claw, and fight your way back into this thing to just get near a podium finish. And Jeff Ward has some incredibly bad luck, and things just kind of opened up for you. But once you got the lead, dude, you put your hand on the throat and just kind of rang it out of him, man. That was a heck of a run to the checkers.
Yeah, it was actually pretty amazing. I mean, I ran a lot of practice for road courses in the off season because last year that was just it was a win for me to finish in the top 10. So I needed to make up for it, especially knowing we had a lot of them this year. So definitely put in some practice today too, and got some help with trading paints on the hood this week, and we just got real lucky. A lot of times these road courses with these random cautions, I always get the worst end of it. And this time it worked out perfectly. I had a plan set in mind, and I spun out, and then was kind of just, really angry at that time at myself. But it worked out good. And then it was kind of funny because I said to me and Woody, we were on the same fuel strategy, and I said, Woody, I think we're going to be good on fuel. And Brian says, well, yeah, but what about tires? And he started right behind me, and I'm like, yeah, that's a good point. But I was really saving him when I first came out of the pits there, so it really paid off. And then him and Woody battling there really let me get out to a good lead, because if they weren't battling, Brian probably would have won that one.
Yeah, well, listen, man, I mean, again, what a great run. What a way to recover. But all of that, all of that fighting, all the effort this evening doesn't quite get you the summer segment championship. You're still going to wind up 20 points short. You did everything you could by winning this thing, but Yazik just gets a pretty solid finish himself. And how do you feel about that, coming up just short on that?
Be honest with you, I want the big one at the end. So missing out on the summer one, it sucks. But we got the spring one. My goal was to get at least one of them. And the main goal is the end of the season here. So we're just going to keep fighting with that for that. And my whole season's just been adversity is pretty much the way you could sum it up, because just about every week something goes wrong. But normally I would get too flustered and make that hole bigger than what it should be. And this year I've had problems and fought back, and turned it around and made it a solid finish. So just got to keep doing that, especially without a chase this year. It's all about consistency. So I think we're definitely in championship form here with the consistency. So we just gotta keep the throttle down here.
Well, Nick, I said a moment ago I'm feeling pretty lucky. I think I might have to go buy a couple lottery tickets.
Yeah, did I hear you picked me to win?
I did in the woodshed today, in a very, very emotional woodshed, by the way.
Yes, of course.
I did pick you, and I just had a feeling. I had a feeling it was time for you to get back to victory lane. Congratulations! Anybody you'd like to thank before we let you go?
I just got to thank Trading Paints, Steve Lumender, for being on the car this week. CG Automotive and Toyota and all my teammates at Lab Pedal. Feel bad for Jeff, man. He really had that 1-1 if he didn't have that bad luck there. But sometimes that's how it goes. So other than that, I guess we'll see you guys next week.
All right, buddy, and we certainly will. Again, congratulations to Nick Cohan, our big winner tonight. And let's talk to Brian Yazik. Justin, you've caught up with him. His burnout's finally finished. I think it is anyway. Justin, talk to Brian.
Yes, Brian Yazik coming away with the Summer Championship with a 20-point lead over Nick Cohan, which comes after finishing second to Cohan, in fact, here at Watkins Glen. How do you feel about this wild, wild race, my friend?
That had its ups and downs. Really, the only way to put that one. Jeff had us covered backwards, frontwards, sideways, whichever way you want to cut it. So I guess whatever bad luck befell him, that sucks for him. But he's had a pretty good second half of this season, and so he's got a lot to hang his hat on. So. No, it was pretty wild. I'm a little tired, so I'm not my usual energetic self. But that's summer segment champion. That's pretty cool. But like Cohan said, we got our eyes on the bigger prize, and we lost a couple points to him tonight. So we got to get back on that one. But kind of sucks finishing second. I know it's weird, but I really wanted to put that one in victory lane for Patrick, and I don't know. It's just weird, I should be excited for a second, but I really wanted to put it in victory lane and give the Lionheart boys something to hang their hat on and stuff like that. So.
I was going to ask about Patrick Taylor, because you do have the logo on your hood that is in memorial for him. What do you want to say involving him, if you don't mind me asking?
Patrick was he was the guy you wanted to meet and the guy you wanted to have in your corner. He was a great guy, and admittedly with Lionheart, I wasn't around. I haven't been around as long as some of the other guys, but you just kind of had that feeling like he was, you knew him all along, and he was a great guy, and I doubt you would find anybody on this planet that would ever speak a ill word about him.
Okay, to bring it back to the action, though, of course. We, of course, finished the summer season tonight. There's still a fair amount of races to go, and in part because of Nick Cohan's performance tonight, you're going to have to hold him off right now in the points. The overall point standings, he's closed the gap pretty much to 14 points after tonight. How do you plan to hold him off here in the closing weeks, especially as we go into our next race weekend at Michigan?
We're just gonna keep doing what got us here. I'm not gonna try to reinvent the wheel and try a whole bunch of stuff and see what works, what doesn't work. We're just gonna keep doing what gave us the points lead coming into this one, and like I said, we're just gonna keep trucking at it. We got the Loud Pedal Motorsports 200 next week, so no pressure on on any of our guys on that one. So we've been pretty excited to bring it back down to bring her back to Michigan, my home track. I'll be there Sunday for the Cup race, so that's gonna be pretty awesome. And we're just trucking, man. I mean, the rest of the schedule lays out pretty good. Everybody's looking forward to Darlington, and that'll be a long one, but we're gonna dig through that, and we'll just keep doing what we're doing and hoping for the good runs and keep this HPPsimulation.com Ford Fusion right where it has been now for feels like about a month now, 2 months now, up there at the top of the points.
All right, Brian, now stick around. We will be back with you in just a couple minutes, but first, we're going to talk to Drew Carroll. Drew, boy, that was a pretty exciting race this evening. You came from that 9th position, picked up spots all night. You finish up here on the podium. Congratulations. Talk about the struggle.
You put it right. It was a struggle. These past couple months have just been killer for us. Everything was going wrong. Their pit calls went wrong, getting in wrecks. Anything and everything kind of happened to us this past couple months, and it's just been a struggle. So I'm really happy to come away third. I am not a road racer by any means. So if you would have told me that I was going to come home third tonight, I probably would have laughed in your face. So, that was a lot of fun. I mean, I'm disappointed I was third. I was trying so hard to get Brian. I told him after the race, I was like, if that was anybody else in the carousel on the last lap, probably would have given you the bumper, but I don't feel like losing my job. So, good race for everybody. Really proud of the effort, and just glad to get back on podium. It's been a while.
Yeah, I know it's been a while. I know it's been a bit of a struggle for you at times. You've certainly had some bad luck, and you've also not been able to run all the races. But listen, you're still here, sitting right now 9th in points overall this season. I'd say that the future is looking pretty bright. I mean, you still have a lot of spots in front of you that you could take down before this season's over, and you're going to get a clean slate when we show up in Michigan to fight for the fall session points. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think it's good. We need to get a clean slate. Just wipe this second summer, championship. Just wipe it away. Forget about it. It's over and done with. Really glad to get a clean slate. We are switching to Chevy. We're going to be running Chevys from here on out for the rest of the year. So, just trying to run something different.
Okay.
That's where I had all my success last year was with Chevy, and we switched to Ford, and we were been all over the place. So, it came out pretty good tonight. Hopefully that, good luck just keeps rolling.
Yes, and we hope it keeps rolling for you too. We'll go to Michigan, and you'll be in a Chevrolet. That's something about that sounds kind of right. Drew, congratulations on the podium finish tonight. Can't wait to see you here next week.
Hey, thank you, Sean. Just real quick, I want to thank Clipping That Apex and Elite Custom Graphics. I didn't have Clipping That Apex on board today. They were on the quarter panels, but we had Elite Custom Graphics on board. So thanks to them for the sponsorship. Thanks Loud Pedal Motorsports, and we'll see you guys at Michigan.
All right, and thank you, Drew Carroll. Great interview with him. We're going to bring James Gravula in. We'll talk just a second about his race. James, boy, you had us going, man. I really thought that was yours tonight, and then things kind of fell apart there for you.
Yeah, it's just like what Brian was saying. It's you want to be excited with the top 5. We had a good chance there with the way that the race was kind of panning out, and we just we wanted to have a good finish for Patrick, and you could tell racing Brian there, he wanted it just as bad. We just had it was a rough night. We're glad to come home in 5th. We had a great car. Had a good run here tonight, and we could have we definitely had the fastest car there at the end. If we could have gotten around Brian and Woodrow there, then I think we could have gotten up to Nick. But you gotta beat those guys off of pit road. So again, like what Brian was saying, it's summer night here. We're this is still very fresh and everything to us. We're just thinking about his family, and we're thinking about our our family over in Lionheart too. It's been a rough week.
Yeah, James, thanks for bringing that up. But you know what? Let's move on for that right this second. Let's talk about why you're really here right now, because I think we've got Mr. Yazik still sitting here with us. I think you've got something for him, sir.
I do. In the summer segment, which started at Richmond, we ran 12 races. We're going to take the top 11 from those races. During that span, Brian, you were able to get a win, 9 top 5s and 11 top 10s, and you were able to hold off Nick Cohan in his 2 wins by 20 points to get the summer segment. You'll be getting $50 sent over here soon. Nick was able to get 25 here. And then and Thomas George will be getting 12.5 as a prize. Just wanted to congratulate you on your summer segment championship. Still leading in overall as well. So overall, very good year going on for you.
Yeah, thanks, James. It's not bad. Not a bad way to spend my time. It feels great, knocking down another championship on things, but we still got our eye on the prize next week, and or not next week. We got our eye on the prize for the next segment, and we're going to try to bring her home the best we can at Atlanta. For me, just kind of these these races and all this stuff, it just kind of sets me up, or it works into my groove. So we're just going to keep on digging with it.
Well, Brian, listen, you've been a pretty dominant force with that yellow stripe on your bumper.
I can't wait to get that damn thing off of there.
I still
It
think
brings
it's
me
kind of
so much joy still to this day.
I do find it kind of comical myself. Well, go ahead, Justin.
I was just laughing to that comment, but continue.
Yeah, Brian, I think that Justin already asked you this, but to hammer it home, what's the strategy going forward? I mean, you're only up by 16 points, so you've obviously still got to fight really hard here for the rest of the season, or at least for most of it.
Yeah, I mean, and just kind of like I said, we're just going to keep doing what brought us to the dance. I'm not going to try to, I'm not going to try to overstep and drive over my head and out my rear end and cost myself bigger points. But, at the same time, it'd probably be nice to knock down a couple more wins. Like I said, we got Michigan coming up. Darlington, I really like. I won there last year in the Grand National Series. And Iowa coming up down there too in that stretch. I'm really good there. So there's a couple really good tracks in there, and we're just going to keep doing. I know I keep repeating myself, but we're just going to keep doing what brought us to the dance. I feel like I'm a pretty good driver of these virtual cars, and we just got to keep. We can't get too inflated. We can't get too ahead of ourselves. We still have to keep digging.
Well, keep digging. You will indeed. And buddy, I mean, this was it was a little somber tone this evening, but I think it ends on a good note. Real quickly, we're going to look at the final standings here for the summer segment, get everybody a chance here to see how things shook out there for the final 10. Of course, Brian Yazik wins it. Nick Cohan, Thomas George, third. He had a rough night tonight, unfortunately. Ricky Harden in fourth. He's going to tie there with Jeff Ward. And a good effort by Ricky and bad luck by Jeff is what makes that happen. James Grahula will finish sixth. Tyler Dalton seventh. Tommy Ryan going to finish eighth. Tim Johnston in ninth. And Travis McQuistion going to round out the top 10 in the summer standings. And boys, we appreciate you here in the Premier Racing League Brian, James, congratulations to both of you on a great run tonight. Justin, as we get ready to close things out here this evening, any final thoughts from you, sir?
Yeah, tonight's action was exciting for sure, but of course we're going to a whole different animal in Michigan this next week. So with the next segment really for points, we got a points battle like brewing at this point, especially with Nick Cohan's performance today, because a few races ago, I believe it looked like Brian Yazik was unstoppable. Not so much anymore. Now, it's something that's going to be a storyline to watch from here on out between those two, as well as the rise of Jeff Ward to see if he can sneak his way into that battle by the time we get to the final races of the season.
Well, if you liked what you saw out of the Premier Racing League drivers at the Glen tonight, check back with us at 9:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time this Sunday night, when the PRL, American Pool Supply Truck Series, will make a visit to Michigan International Speedway. We'll be there. We hope you're there with us. We would like to thank the drivers and organizers of the Premier Racing League for coming here tonight and putting on a tremendous show for us. Thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcasts listed here on your screen. Additional thanks always have to go out to Eric Ekholm and Casey Lalonde, who provide our wonderful music on every broadcast. Now see the screen for how to get a hold of them if you'd like to check out more of their great work. Thanks to the team today: Justin Prince, Jed Yaman, Twisted and Tweaking of Owls, the much sought after Dougie Beard on those cameras. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. Yeah, we've got a website. It's a great one. Do check it out. Or you can check us out on our social media on Twitter at GSR Channel, or you can go on over to Facebook. Yes, we are there. We have a big presence there. Global Sim Racing Channel. Just type it in, one long word. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. And tonight, we'll end this one a little bit different with a shout out again to Patrick Taylor. And remember, until next time, race clean, race hard, and I'm pitting out.